Welcome, bienvenidos, bienvenido to our UC Santa Barbara Office of Admissions Parents and Supporters webinar series. Today, we get to talk about the Freshman Summer Start Program, FSSP. And we have our amazing friends from Summer Session, Teresa, who's here to talk all about FSSP. So without further ado, I pass it over to my colleague and friend.
Hello, welcome. I'm so excited to be able to talk to you about our Freshman Summer Start program today. My name is Dr. Teresa Holden. I'm the Assistant Director of Academic Programs in the Office of Summer Sessions. And so I work with the Freshman Summer Start program that will just make it easy and call it FSSP. So I want to linger for just a second on this slide in case you want to use this QR code in order to get to our website while I'm speaking. So we're going to talk, first of all, about what research tells us is important for students in their first year. So we know that students who have a strong support network and students who have uh, uh, a community of friends around them are predicted to be more successful in college. And so, in order to do this, FSSP students or FSSP provides for students a head start on academics. They get to start building that community that they're going to have for a lifetime, and they begin to learn about the campus resources that are available to them at UCSB. So this program takes place from July 31st to September 12th. And we know because we hear from our students that a lot of times they have friends who are attending semester schools, or maybe they have younger siblings who are going back to school in August. And so this time period kind of gives them the opportunity to do something when they otherwise may not be occupied because all their friends are at school anyway. We also know because research tells us that students who participate in a summer program prior to the beginning of their first year tend to perform better in college and are more likely to graduate on time. And I'd like to add to that, we know that FSSP students also begin to buy some time so that they can do things later on in their college career that they really want to do, like study abroad or take advantage of several internships. And so this provides them that academic head start that allows them to do these things. At FSSP, students will make friends. They're going to take classes with other first year students. They'll live in the same residence hall. They'll participate in a variety of social activities that will take place in the residence hall and also take place as part of just the FSSP programming with this array of FSSP students that they'll be living with, and they'll really build those lasting friendships. They'll also get to know the campus. So they're going to get comfortable here. It's a big campus, and they'll learn their way around campus, the surrounding area, and get that introduction to campus resources when those various offices aren't quite as busy. They'll also learn about the full array of opportunities that are available to UCSB students. So in FSSP, students will choose from 60 general education or lower division major courses. They will take 2 to 4 courses and start making progress toward their degree. So they're going to take classes. They're going to transition smoothly because classes are smaller. There are less students on campus. So it's a really good opportunity for them to get really comfortable. And they'll receive more individualized attention from faculty. We actually have college advisors who kind of take up residence in, well, not literally, but they do have regular office hours in the residence hall so that students can easily access them and get their fall schedule completely situated and even start that long-term planning for the future. And they'll have the opportunity to connect with faculty and begin to kind of build their network here at UCSB. And they'll do this through small first year seminars that I'll talk about in just a minute. And we also sponsor informal gatherings with faculty and a variety of people who work at UCSB so that they'll have that opportunity to get to know them. So in terms of academics, students usually take 2 to 4 classes for a total of 7 to 13 units. And so all of the students in FSSP take INT 95A, Intro to the Research University, and then they have some choices. They can take a first year discovery seminar. They can even take 2 of those, and then they can take 1 or 2 general education major or elective courses, or they could just choose from the GE major or elective courses. And you can see all of this on our website. You'll see an academics page where you'll see where they can select the courses that they're ultimately going to put on their course registration form. So these first year discovery seminars are 1-unit courses. We think they're a really ideal way for students to start their UCSB career because they're in a course with a really small capacity. So capacity of 20 students in these courses, and they're only open to FSSP students. So they'll really get to know people within that course well. And so some examples of these discovery seminars includes INT 86SH, and this is a course called Health and Wellness at UCS by Walking UCSB. And so actually this is a health and wellness course where students learn about the campus by walking the campus and also getting some exercise. And then INT 86WF, Ethical Tech, Navigating the Should in Innovation. And in this course, students will not only learn about these limitless possibilities that we have through tech, but also our ethical responsibilities and just kind of thinking about whether students and people in general should actually, create these possibilities. Get back to excuse me, just 1 second. There we go. All right. Additionally, we have courses that have scholarship opportunities attached to them. And so what this means is even if a student isn't eligible for need-based aid, they would be eligible for scholarships in these courses. So these courses include the ones listed here: Utopian Dreaming, History, Science Fiction, and Isla Vista, Experiencing Shakespeare, and then also masterpieces in Chinese literature. And so how students would earn these scholarships is if they sign up for the class, they can write an essay and tell about why they're interested in it and potentially get a scholarship that way. So the course registration process takes place in this way. Once a student has enrolled in FSSP, they'll receive a course preferences form. And on that form, they'll list their 6 top course choices. And they will be able to find all of their course choices on our website. And then summer sessions advisors will actually create their schedule for them. So we ask them to select 6 choices, and then the advisor will look at the time of day and whether there are conflicts between those courses, and then also whether the course is full or not. So these schedules are created on a first come, first serve basis. Students can get ample help either by watching videos that are on our website or by making contact with one of the FSSP advisors, and they're able to see how to reach them on our website. Students are housed in the San Nicolas Residence Hall, popularly known as San Nick. And so it's a one-step move-in. They move in July 31st, and then they stay there for the remainder of the school year. They'll eat in the De La Guerra Dining Commons, which is right next door to San Nick. And actually, within San Nick itself is where a lot of the FSSP events take place. Residence Life has a lot of activities that they do with students. FSSP program events can take place there as well as other places as we help students get to know the campus. And then those college advisor office hours take place there. We do have a variety of financial incentives, as well as the fact that financial aid is available for students for FSSP. So FSSP students who would like to receive financial aid must complete their 2025-2026 FAFSA by June 30. So let me just stop there for a minute and remind you that for the regular school year, so for the 26-27 school year, students will be completing a 2026-2027 FAFSA. But for summer, you have to complete the 2025-2026 FAFSA. And the reason for this is because summer is counted as the previous school year. So that has to be completed by June 30th. If students receive a financial award for FSSP, that does not mean that their financial award for fall, winter, and spring will be reduced. It will have no bearing on that. Additionally, students who are aid eligible will be automatically considered for the UCSB summer grant, and this is awarded depending on the unit load. We have a 12-unit fee cap for all students in the summer, including FSSP. And so what that means is that students do not pay for units beyond 12. So if you take that 13th unit, you're not going to pay for that one additional unit. Students who are from out of state or international pay California resident tuition in the summer. So that's throughout all of our summer programs, including FSSP. And those course scholarships for those scholarship courses that I showed you previously can range from $900 to $2,000 per course. So we'll talk about the cost of attendance. There are a few fixed costs that will that everybody pays, and of course that includes the application fee. And we have a number of different fees that are named here on this slide, and that adds up to almost $700. UCSB health insurance costs $571, close to $600 for the summer, but this can be waived if a student has other insurance. And then we also have variable costs. So the cost of FSSP differs from student to student, just depending on a number of different things. But chiefly, it's the number of units they take. So the per unit course fee is $291 per unit. And then housing and meals costs $4,105 based on triple occupancy. And so if the student wants to be in a single room or have double occupancy, the cost would be a little higher. And so the cost is right around, or, ranging around $9,000 for FSSP. And actually, because of our financial incentives and scholarships, FSSP students actually receive nearly twice as much aid as other students enrolled in summer. So our students really enjoy the program. They speak highly of it when they leave. And here are some of the comments that students have made. And you can see that these talk about things like creating their friend group, feeling more confident about their journey at UCSB, And I really like the last one here. FSSP was one of the greatest decisions of my life behind going to UCSB. And the most rewarding factor of this program is making your lifelong friends. And we know that that's very, very important to students when they come to college, finding their friend group, making their community. And that's one of the things we feel like we facilitate really well in FSSP. So, in order to enroll in the program, of course, you have to submit your statement of intent to register at UCSB. And then you'll complete the FSSP enrollment form, which can be found on our website, summer.ucsb.edu/FSSP. Of course, if you want financial aid, it's important to complete that 25-26 FAFSA by June 30th to be considered for aid. And then students need to check their UCSB email regularly because that's the major way in which we communicate with them, but also everybody on campus will be communicating with students through their UCSB email. Our enrollment dates are April 13th to June 30th, so we've already been enrolling people. And we have a QR code here for you to view with our contact information. All right, I am ready to take some questions.
Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so first question. So there's an application. Does that mean I may not be selected?
Nope, you're going to be selected. It's very cursory. The application really just collects information. It's more like a registration form. So it's not a selection process.
Perfect. Is there a priority? So is it first come, first serve gets the classes that they want?
Yes, that's the case. However, it's important for you to know that we do save spots in classes that we know FSSP students will be taking. So we do save a certain number of spots in the classes that we know our students will need. But it's still first come, first serve. Yeah.
If I choose to attend an earlier orientation, is that going to be a problem? I think that
No.
they're talking about overall summer orientation. Yes.
You're right, right. So you can attend an orientation that works best for you. We do encourage you, however, to attend the orientation that takes place at the same time as move in. So I believe that it starts July 30th. And then what students end up doing is we have a dedicated time for students who are attending orientation to actually move in on July 31st. They get to take care of all their orientation stuff as well as move in. We feel like that's really efficient for families, but it's not required. You can do what works best for you.
And I will point out that the link for orientation dates is in the chat. And there's even a little drop-down menu that says freshman summer start. So they've got a little blurb on there for you.
Great.
All right. Question. What are the average class sizes for summer courses?
Yeah, so class sizes differ according to course. I can say for those first year discovery seminars, they're capped at 20, but otherwise, I can't tell you really an average, but I can tell you that they're generally smaller, much smaller than during the school year.
When does enrollment end for freshman summer start?
June 30th is the last time someone can apply, and then we'll continue to make schedules for students until, we get everyone in classes.
Right. Can I find out what classes are available for computer science or econ majors? Are those classes listed already?
Yeah, so if you go to our, excuse me, webpage and you go to the academics tab, at the bottom of that tab, you will find a spot where you can filter all of the classes that are available. So it will allow you to filter according to, of course, department, time of day that you want to take the classes. It will filter according to scholarships, whether scholarships are available, freshman only classes. And if you find that for instance, you've tested out of all of the math courses that we have listed, you can reach out to us and we will help you to identify whether there is a math course that is recommended for you to take that's outside our course listing. So we want to put you in the courses that you need to be in. Sometimes departments will say, oh, we want students to wait till fall to take that particular course. So we want to pay attention to that. But if there are no guardrails around it, then we'll definitely help you to take the classes that you need.
That's a good point. We want you to be successful. Okay, so we filled out a housing contract for a freshman summer start. Are we also having to fill out a campus contract for housing for the academic year?
Okay, you have me a little stumped on this.
Yes, I can answer
This
that
is
one. Yes.
okay. Thank you. I'm so glad you know this. Yeah.
All right. Do you need to take, let's see, if you sign up for classes, can you then switch, add, or drop? How does that work?
Yes, definitely. And so you have about a week. Freshman summer start students are on the same drop add schedule as everyone else who are in that particular session of summer school. So it's summer session B, and you will have a period of time during a few days in which you can drop and add courses as you would like to.
All right. So yes, but watch your deadlines. Look at me, point my finger at you.
Yes,
Watch your deadlines.
very true.
Okay. Will FSSP students live in the same room during the fall term and the academic year?
Yes, they will. They'll live and we find that parents are pretty happy because there's only one move, which is really nice.
Yeah, and a good point of reference is there is going to be a week between freshman summer start and the summer term. A week that's sort of your break, and then move-in weekend that follows in September in order for you to start your academic year. And housing does shut down during that week. So students will have to physically leave, but they won't move out.
Oh, so let me give you some new
Come on,
information about this.
dime
Yes,
this, dime.
yes. So students can actually stay if they want to stay in that intervening week. They don't have to pay anything more and they can stay in their room. They have to know that dining halls will not be open on campus. So they'll have to make some provisions for, how they're going to eat and so on. But the other thing that you need to know is that we actually this year are going to be having what we're calling Adventure Week in that intervening week that students can sign up for. And what they can do is a whole array of activities with our rec center adventure programs. It's going to be pretty cool. So going to the Channel Islands, a camping trip, they can do that, or they can choose to do activities that are closer to where they kind of stay put, maybe get to sleep in a little bit, just go, on a coffee shop crawl or something like that. So we still have opportunities during that week.
That is the coolest fun fact. Thank you so much for asking. And we do
Yeah.
have one of our webinar participants is actually already signed up for that adventure week. So
Yeah, that's so
perfect
cool.
news.
Yeah.
All right. So are there workshops for socialization for students during freshman summer start?
So I am not one. Maybe you can help me to interpret that, Kuka. What I can
Socials.
tell you, yeah, just socials. Yes, so many socials. What we know, actually, we gathered some data from our housing folks this year and found out that they're doing socials every week, like every floor is doing socials every week. So there are a whole bunch of things to become involved with there, as well as FSSP programming that we're doing. That's all geared toward people meeting their people.
I love that. So if I'm the only one from my school coming to freshman summer start, I will find my people.
Absolutely. And one of the cool things that happened last year is I would attend an event and I would see here this every week, the same group of students all walk in together. And I started talking with them, and they lived on the same floor and they just did everything together.
I know this is totally anecdotal, and that is I tend to see the confident students during Week of Welcome when the 5,000 freshmen all come onto campus. You see the confident students who are just navigating. And I know if I ask, did you do FSSP? The answer is going to be yes. They've
Yeah,
built that, they know campus, they know the routes, they know where their building classes are. Like they exude, I've got this
yeah,
energy.
yeah, exactly.
All right, so we're worried about housing. So the next two questions are about that. Can FSSP students choose their roommates?
So I believe housing has a process by which they make sure that students are with people with whom they're compatible. And I think you can request a roommate. And if that roommate requests you, then you can live together.
Yeah, it's a roommate group that you're creating, and
Mhm.
it's part of your housing application. So just a good reminder. And yes, you have to have mutual agreement. And if there's three of you, that could be a group. If there's two of you, that's a group. So just be aware. Let's see. Do you have to have, do you have to stay in the residence halls? I think might be the question. There's a little bit of ambiguity there. What about if you want to, what about your roommate that you choose? Oh, might there be a roommate that you're choosing who is not part of freshman summer start? I'm actually going to toss that question over to housing. So I'm going to give you the
Mhm.
housing link if you've got those nuanced questions. But we're getting towards the end of our FSSP questions that Dr. Holden can answer for you. So if you've got more FSSP questions, take a moment to type them out for us, please. All right. So financial aid. Here we go. So financial aid, I have to submit a new FAFSA if I'm wanting to be considered for aid for this summer. And the answer is?
Yes, it's the 2025-2026 FAFSA.
And or the CADA, so that California Dream Act application for those students who are going to fall under AB 540 eligibility. One of those two from the 25-26 year. Thank
Yeah.
you. All right. How soon will I be able to see the classes that I've requested and what I've been put into?
Yeah, so that's a quick process. I can't tell you exactly in the number of days, but I do know that generally what our office is waiting for is that registration form. As soon as that registration form comes in, we're on it. So I would say it would be a matter of 48 hours is my guess. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
that's
pretty quick.
amazing.
Yeah.
That okay. If I've got additional questions, who do I ask?
Okay. So
How do I
you
get
can
hold of you?
you can reach out to our student services team, and that email address is fssp@summer.ucsb.edu.
All right. How many freshmen do you expect will enroll in FSSP this year?
Yeah, so I would say that on average, we'll probably have 300 to 350 students.
All right. Is there a way for students to find each other so that they can be roommates if they're both doing FSSP?
Oh, that's such an interesting question. Um, I met a student, I met someone who's coming in as a first year who I think put something on social media, I believe on Instagram, put a bunch of tags on it, including FSSP, and asked for people to reach out to her who might want to be their roommate. And they were standing in front of me, two people from across the country who had both chosen each other through that process. We don't do it, but you can do it.
Yeah, UCSB doesn't subscribe to a social media channel that's limited to admitted students or cohorts. So it usually is organically, though I would highly encourage that you not put all of your personal information on any social media posts,
That's
please and
correct.
thank you.
Yeah.
Um, Roommate groups, are they co-ed? So are the residence hall, is the residence hall co-ed or the floors co-ed question mark?
Kuka, you know more about that than I do.
The building will be co-ed because, of course, we'll have a mix of genders. You're going to find that the floors tend to be single gender, so roommates will typically not be of different gender groups. If that is going to be something that you are looking for, you're going to want to work with housing. We'll put the housing email, housinginfo@housing.ucsb.edu into the chat so that you can work with them should you have a different requests or accommodations, general neutral or mixed gender requests. All right. I think you answered everything, Dr. Holden.
Wow.
I love it. We'll make sure that we have our recording up and running in a week on our Parents and Supporters webpage. I want to say a big thank you, Dr. Holden, for her information about the Freshman Summer Start program. I want to reiterate these students who are coming are amazing because you've been admitted to the class of 2026. We know you're great. If you want to ditch your parents a little sooner, if you want to get started on your UCSB journey a little sooner, if you want to find yourself in those classes in a baby step, because summer feels like a smaller step. There aren't 26,000 students on campus during the summer. It is a smaller population. It is a great opportunity. So I'm excited that you're all thinking about it. If you've got questions, that FSSP at summer email is in the chat. Feel free to take a look at that. Otherwise, we thank you for joining us and we look forward to seeing you maybe at our next Parents and Supporters webinar on our Disabled Students Program for those of you who have 504 or IEP programs happening on May 12th. With that, I'll say have a good evening, everyone. Take care and bye-bye.
Bye bye.